You hear just Jossin around and it feels like...
That honestly sounds like the intro song. The intro song is like kind of... It sounds like a Seinfeld dupe.
Yeah. It's like he's an architect, she's unemployed, they live together, Jossin around.
Do you want that to be your new intro?
Yeah, I do. We can just clip that out real quick. Welcome back to another episode of Just Jossin' Around. My guest today, Karl Houser. Welcome.
Hi.
How's it going?
Well, it's going well.
Just want to put aside, Karl did just figure out what my last name was 5 seconds ago before we started.
DeBonis.
DeBoner, yes.
Wait, Debois, where does that go? That's good too.
That's what people think, like, it's like, well, I mean, it's Italian. People are like, is it French? Is it Debois? And I'm like, or people say Debonet.
Ooh,
right?
Like Nolans, like a
No.
Jos Debonet.
Yeah. Honestly, sounds a lot better than the actual.
Spelt like the bones in the ground, but pronounced with a flick of the tongue, Debonet.
I don't have a good accent to go back for.
I don't know what that accent was.
It felt like a deep, like almost a Georgia.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Like, you ever watch, what was it like? Something with the Chrisleys? It was like that family from Georgia with the husband who was clearly gay.
I think the only television I've watched set in Georgia or the South at all is True Blood.
Oh, really?
And I just...
Oh, wait, is that the... Okay,
it's the vampire one.
I was thinking of In Cold Blood, Truman Capote.
Yeah.
Which is not the same as what you're talking about.
No, it's the one with Truman Capote and all the vampires.
Yeah. No, it's good. Not about a man being hung at all for vicious crimes.
No.
Or anything like that. Just vampires.
Just vampires. Just vamping around.
That's what we're going to change the name to for spooky season.
Ooh, just vamping around.
around.
That's the thing about a podcast is, when does this come out? Months from now?
No, it'll come out this Friday.
This Friday?
It'll come out. It's that fast.
Who do you have editing?
Well, Grace, and then I do some of the clips.
Grace, you beautiful genius. And I think you have to not be a perfectionist, because every podcast that I've done, I am a perfectionist. Mm-hmm. So I'll just sit there for hours being like, what's the comedic timing on this?
Oh, really?
Because I would also have friends star in my podcasts, especially my early podcast before I got into comedy and improv and met people who do those things.
Yeah.
I would just have friends read lines I gave them, and they were bad, but I would fix them in editing. I'd be like, okay, well, the comedic timing here is off.
That's so interesting.
But I'll just put some space here as I'm like, learning as I go. What is that one? Audacity. It's a free editing software, I think.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I have not heard of that, but like so you would script your podcast guests.
Well, I had a scripted podcast. It was meant to be like a sketch podcast.
That's so cool. I was going to ask what the premise of it was.
Well.
And what was the name?
Let me tell you. The name was The Tone Downs, Voyage of the Damned.
Okay.
And it was about a band. Yeah. Called The Tone Downs. And they lived in an apartment together. And they got up to shenanigans. And they had adventures. It's like if you imagine like any of those like, I don't know, like 70s shows where there was a time when bands just did things.
Yeah.
Like Jabberjaw. Like they would just solve mysteries and sometimes play music, but mostly just be a band.
Yes.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Yes. Okay.
So it was somewhere between that and like I wanted it to be like an audio version of like Pee-wee's Playhouse or any of those other 70s shows with lots of puppets and stuff.
That's so unique.
So,
I love that.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, what's happening in the apartment? Look, it's, Refrigitron 5000. What's up, Refrigitron? Or whatever else.
That's really fun. I've never heard of like a sketch podcast before. I'm sure those are a thing, but like that's a very unique concept.
There's not a lot of them, but I love them.
Yeah.
There's one that I love that's a British one. I don't know if I guess it's not a podcast. It's just a radio show then.
Sure.
Because it was on the radio.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've ever heard of a show called That Mitchell and Webb Look.
No, I haven't.
But they also had that Mitchell and Webb sound, which was the audio version. And it's very funny because you can do game shows, or you can do news programs, or you can do really fun stuff with sound effects. But oh my gosh, so much work.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine. Well, I mean, like, did you guys have to, like, go over it a couple times? Like, was there a table read beforehand, or were you guys just,
so this is
kind of, I guess, low-key improving with
no.
the script? No, not at all.
Again, I didn't know anyone who did comedy. I only had some buddies.
Yeah.
And it was low rent. Mm-hmm. And I wanted a way to have, everyone recorded on their own channel.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of audio editing, right? I assume both of our mics are on their own channel. Would that be correct?
Yes. No?
No?
I mean, I know.
It's just all one. See, I wanted to be able to, like, really edit each channel or whatever, but I only had one mic, and I didn't have, like, a splitter or whatever you need to do that. Mm-hmm. So I just had each person read all their lines.
Oh, separate?
Separate.
Oh, wow.
The worst idea, because, like, I'm like, well, listen, I guess what we don't want is any chemistry or anyone to play off of anyone. I just trusted everyone so little that I'm like, just read your lines. And I think it was also so that, like, when they inevitably read them terribly or wrong or whatever, I could be like, just do that 3 more times.
Yeah.
I'll choose the best one.
Yeah.
So then I end up with, like, 3 hours each or whatever of individual lines that I'm then like, okay, now I'm going to cut this up like an audio collage.
Yeah.
And
wow,
you're getting so many
much
uhs
work
from me. Yeah. It was a lot of work, and I ended up making 2 episodes, and they're my favorite.
I know, that was going to be my question. I was like, how many episodes
2.
did you actually, like, but also in the same breath, I understand, like, a project like that needing to control and, like, wanting to, like, make sure everything is. It was
the nearest and dearest project to my heart, and it still is. I still, when I have to do, like, bios or whatever.
Yeah,
like when I'm
throw
in
it in.
Theater production, I'll be like, thank you to Karl's band, the Tone Downs, for never requiring practice. Because I'm the only one in this band.
Yeah.
And
a one-man band.
Yeah, and none of us played instruments. That was another thing.
Yeah.
That none of us could play music at the time. So I didn't need it to be about the music. That's why it was sketches.
I haven't seen very many sketches based off of bands. Literally all I can think of is Metalocalypse from is that Adult Swim?
Yeah. You know what? Years later, I saw a show years later on Netflix, Auntie Donna's Great Big House of Fun.
Oh.
Something like that. And it just was exactly what I was going for.
Really?
Like, so upsetting.
Isn't that...
They couldn't have stolen it from me, but let me tell you, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
It was exactly what they were doing.
Seeing, like, an idea that you had done, like, I feel it hurts on a whole nother level. Like, a sketch or, like, a premise.
It hurts, but then also I'm like, okay.
It was in the right hands.
It became alive, at least.
Yeah.
Someone kind of
manifested it
yeah.
into reality. I love that. I'm so glad that you're here today. I'm glad you came, even though we've only met, like, I feel like in passing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just loved you immediately, and especially when at the I think of the Omaha. It was the Comedy Fest fundraiser.
Yes.
And that was my first time, I think, seeing you do improv. Was at that event, and it was I just keep thinking of the Scream. The sketch or the whatever it was, but the Scream. I don't know what you guys called that or what group that was from, but do you know what I'm referencing?
Let me tell you, I immediately forget everything I do.
No, how could you forget a Scream like that?
That's the joy of improv.
It's there and it's
there and it's gone. I used to be a waiter, and I was one of those I won't write things down waiters.
Oh yeah.
And let me tell you, once it goes in the machine, it's gone. And that's improv for me, is like...
Really?
I'm there, I'll do it, I will remember everything I can in that scene as well as I can. Like, I'm trying to make sure that if you called someone Carlos at the beginning of the show, 30 minutes later, I'm going to slip that in. It's going to be so funny.
Yeah.
And then the second I'm off the stage, gone.
It all goes.
It's gone.
You got to wipe the hard drive clean. You got to make room for.
There's
for
not
more.
a lot of room there to begin with. I'm one of those iPod shuffles, baby. I got 3 gigs in here, maybe.
Oh. I'm so sad. I wish I could remember like the entire premise of the sketch, but I just remember you off to the side doing this scream that literally sounded.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember that because we did it because it's a sketch, so we did it a few times.
Mm-hmm.
It was a copier. Yeah. That sounded like a man screaming.
It was perfect.
And I listen, I can scream.
Yeah, no, that's like a gift. I was like, I want that like recorded on a soundboard, and like during this podcast, I want to be able to just hit it. It was the timing. It was everything. I was like, I'm obsessed.
Yeah,
and then,
that was a fun sketch.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I wish I had that recorded to watch again. It was so funny. But you do a lot of like. You're in multiple different groups? Or are you just in loyal to one?
No, loyal to no one.
Loyal to no one.
Absolutely no one. Listen, I have nothing for this. I'm a street cat. No, several different groups, I would say. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about one group that we're getting started right now, which is our improvised Shakespeare team.
You guys did a show, like, it was on a Thursday, like maybe 2 weeks ago. How'd that go?
Wonderfully. We're doing first Thursdays of the month.
Nice.
I guess if this comes out this Friday,
yes,
then viewers can know that it's going to be second Thursday of the month in November.
Okay.
But yeah, we're doing first Thursdays of the month at the Backline, and we improvise a whole Shakespeare show, and it's a lot of fun. How does that work? Like, do you guys, is it just like, are you basing it off of one of the plays, or how does that go? No, you just make it up. Let me pull down the curtain for you.
Pull it down.
Let me show you the magic behind the improv. It's just regular narrative improv with a lot of thousand days.
Okay, I didn't know if it was based off the work or like just the speak of like, the language.
It's a little bit of everything. Shakespeare has so many tropes that you can go back to. Whether it's, the royalty, the tragedy, the jester, the fairies, the witch, speaking to the audience, war. I don't know. There's a lot of war. From literature, war. There's a lot of stuff that you can go to. So it's basically just genre improv. Okay. But it just feels really fun and impressive because we just ask for the title of a Shakespeare play that's never been done before. Yeah. And then we give you that play.
That's so, yeah. And it's not based on like what you guys are just.
I mean, we're riffing.
That's awesome.
We're riffing. I wish I could say, that I came up with that on my own. Shakespeare improv is kind of a thing that happens pretty often in most places that have improv. I think it started in Chicago with the Improvised Shakespeare Company. But I wanted it here too.
Yeah.
And, it's worth having, and we have an amazing team of people who really have read a lot of Shakespeare, people who have done Shakespeare, and people who have no idea about Shakespeare. And that's a fun collection of people.
Yeah, you have people who have no idea who can help each other out.
Because you get someone on there saying, Theseus, thou hast wilted me greatly, and the other guy saying, dude.
I love that.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's great. I'm so like, I feel like the only time I get to like see everyone doing improv is at like the comedy fest and stuff. But it's just always so impressive and captivating. And there's just so much talent in Omaha. Like, no shade to the other teams I've seen travel through here, but I feel like Omaha just has
we're good.
The sauce.
We're dripping with the sauce. No cap.
There it is.
Dylan, who you've had on this podcast, brings a lot of knowledge and a lot of talent, and he's trained, from my understanding, in New York and Chicago. Yeah. So he brings a lot of styles from across the country, which I think is really helpful because I also went to Chicago and I did a bunch of improv school there. Nice. And it's great and it's so cool, and you can really tell the difference in the styles between, God, this is getting nerdy, between
I love it.
UCB or IO or even Second City. But I feel like we really try to meld things here.
Yeah.
And almost just try to learn as many different styles as we can and bring them in. We're always excited. People here are so hungry for a workshop by someone who's only done things in California. And they have this idea about how the groundlings or whatever work. And then this person comes in and they say, well, we really do a character-based thing that's based on theater. And people love to just mesh all that together.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
No, that's awesome. I feel like it's different worlds, like stand-up versus like improv. I wish that
so
worlds could collide more.
It's tough. It's surprisingly difficult.
I will say, I know I've said this multiple times. I love the improv people a lot more. You guys are just so much more nicer and open and welcoming. I think it's because it's like you guys are always working in a situation where you're working with another person.
Well, it's by definition an ensemble thing. You have to, like, the whole thing of improv is just, to be good improv is stripping away pretense and just getting your vulnerability out there and just being willing to trust. It's a constant trust fall. You have to be ready to make yourself look like an idiot, knowing that other people will make you look like you're not an idiot. Any sort of that lockup you get in front of a crowd when something feels embarrassing, where you might want to be like, ugh. If you do that to someone else on stage, everything falls apart.
Yeah.
It's a stick in the spokes immediately. So yeah, you have to be really willing to connect with people. And I do think that stand-up, even though a rising tide, carries all boats, tends to be more competitive.
Yeah, and the people you're next to, they sometimes don't want to be your friend. They don't really care.
I mean, there's so much grind to do anything. It's hard work. In improv, we're doing play. We are doing play in the best way we can, and the only thing that makes it more interesting than just watching people play pretend is the fact that we do it with a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah.
And have done it so many times that we tend to bring a lot of comedy to it. But in the end, it's just us having fun.
Yeah.
It's just us pulling goofs. And
No, please. I was just gonna say, how long have you been doing improv?
I don't know, because you have to count the pandemic as like 5 years. So I don't know. I think it's realistically, I think only about 6 years. I did theater in high school. I did improv in high school. I did all that stuff, but that barely counts. That's like, I feel like that's saying, like, how long have you been bicycling? And you're like, well, I rode a tricycle in kindergarten. But, like, none of that stuff in high school was what I'm doing now. But I got back into it about 6 years ago. Nice.
Yeah, and you're fucking killing it. One of my favorites to see, a class act. Would you ever see yourself making, like, a transition into stand-up?
I mean, I've done stand-up.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah, I will do stand-up. If someone says, like, hey, I've got 10 minutes to fill, I'll be like, yeah, fine. Oh my
gosh, I would love to see a stand-up set from you. What does that material entail?
I'm still figuring out what that voice is.
Yeah.
Because I've always wanted it to be just very punchline-y.
Yeah.
Very Mitch Hedberg-y. Joke after joke after joke. But I acknowledge that there's so much in storytelling that is very helpful to stand-up. It's tough. Stand-up is the most antagonistic type of performance I've ever attempted with the audience. Because I feel like when I do theater, when I do improv, people come wanting to enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I feel like people come to a stand-up show like, oh yeah, trying to make me laugh.
Yes, it's like...
Let's see.
Yeah,
You're in a fight with these people. So you first have to convince them that they like you.
Yes.
Convince them that they want to laugh with you. So you kind of can't just tell jokes.
No, it's like...
Because, if you don't have that connection, even a good joke is a groaner.
Like, if they smell any kind of weakness, it's like, if you show...
Sharks!
Yeah, no, literally, that's what it is. Like, I feel like if you approach it with any sense of lack of confidence, it's like, it doesn't matter what's coming out of your mouth. They will, like, miss the punchline, everything, if it's just there's an air of lack of confidence, I feel like, in the person.
Which, again, compared to the vulnerability, having that tight confidence and, like, having absolutely no vulnerability... Or at least showing vulnerability in a way that's so controlled.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a different beast.
And I feel like we look at the other with like almost the same like I look at improv and I'm like, wow, because it's so vulnerable. And also it's like, I don't know. It's just there's a lot. I feel like you guys always like, even though I know it is on the spot, I'm like, how is this not pre-planned, thought ahead of a time? Because it's just so, it just flows so smoothly. Like, I don't know. It's very
it's just being human and reacting and playing. It's very natural. It's in all of our bones. We all played when we were kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, I stand up. I'm trying to figure out how to tell stories better. I've got some stories from my life that I've kind of tucked away now because the other thing about stand up that's difficult for me as an improviser is repeating things.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
You're like, I gotta have a new joke every time I go.
I do.
I get it. Yeah.
I feel like I want to write a fully new set. And I've at least gotten to a point where I've done enough stand up that I have enough stuff that I can mix it up.
Yeah.
Or even better, that I've forgotten what I did. And then I go back. I tell you, I am sometimes, and this is going to sound pretentious as hell.
Be pretentious.
I'm sometimes my favorite writer, but only if I've forgotten what I wrote.
And then you go back.
Yeah. When I write it and read it, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. But then give me a few years, I'll read it and I'll be like, who's this guy?
Right?
He gets me.
I always keep my journals because I'm just like, I will forget what's in here and then I'll revisit and be like, wow, I was having a manic episode.
I wish I could keep journals. I've tried.
Do you do the notes app? Where do you keep your notes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For anything I come up with, it's very messy in the notes app.
Yeah.
I've got probably 6 notes started that say, like... jokes to tell, and then 5 others that are like for stand-up or whatever, you know. No, I mostly just lose things, and they're never. I started paying for Google to give me more space.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to go through the things that I. There's no way. Yeah, because they give you 2 gigs free or something. Yeah. I don't know.
I do that with iCloud. I literally pay close to $7 a month just to keep
because it's so cheap.
And I'm like, it's. I would rather pay it than like actually sit down and sift
and go through it.
Yeah,
oh my gosh! Not worth it. Half of it's just like old assignments and essays, but then half of it are books I started, and I'm not going to finish them.
You've started books, you right?
I mean, yeah, I try.
That's still amazing though. That's great.
What's
your genre?
Comedy I
don't know.
Books?
Is it the same like there's a story, or are you talking about comedy?
No, a story. I had one I wanted to write, and it's so funny because when I look back on it, I'm like, oh boy, this is a story about a depressed guy from a depressed guy. But I had one I wanted to write that I think when I look back was highly influenced by Catch-22. I don't know if you've ever read that.
I'm so uncultured, unfortunately. I'm so sorry.
But it was just I wanted to write a very ensemble character book, and I wanted it all to be about one character, but I wanted none of the stories to be about him. I just wanted it to be ways that he happened to influence other people in the town. And I was planning on having it culminating in a big fire that destroyed the town. And I had this vision of him being like, boy, I'll never affect anything as much as this fire's affecting this town. But it was his fault.
Yeah.
Like if you go back through the book, that was my goal.
I love that.
That's so I have a bunch of different stories about people in this town, and they're all very silly. And I think the writing is well, no, I'm not going to say what authors I feel like I am because that's terrible. But definitely influenced by people like Joseph Heller and also Kurt Vonnegut. I'd like to think, and maybe Ray Bradbury and Lemony Snicket, my favorite of all.
I'm thinking of something different.
If you're thinking of a series of unfortunate events.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of. I was like,
listen, I'll drop a lot of culture on you, but nothing's influenced me more than Count Olaf.
It's been so long since I've seen that series. Sorry, I didn't read.
I didn't watch.
Oh, wow. Look at us. 2 different worlds.
I started reading the series when I was young enough for that to make sense, and it didn't finish until I was in college or something.
Yeah.
So I was a sophomore in college at the bookstore the moment it opened, in line to get the final Lemony Snicket book.
To have that thirst after a book, I'm craving that so badly.
Oh my gosh, I love reading. And I just can't find books that I love.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. And then I can't afford books that I love. Because listen, library card. Holy crap.
Oh, there it is.
Love it.
Yeah.
I get audiobooks on my phone. But man, lots of people have figured this out because there's so many holds. I've got like 16 holds on books on my phone. And I'm never going to get these books.
Yeah.
There's 2 reasons I'll never get these books. One is because how many people are in the way. 2 is because the Omaha library doesn't have a lot. But the New York library does.
So you're going to make a trip?
No, I keep making fake addresses.
Oh my gosh.
I hope this isn't too illegal.
No.
I keep making fake addresses and getting New York library cards. They expire after 14 days. Yeah, because I can't go into the library and prove that I'm really this person.
Gosh, so you only have 14 days.
So if I check out the book, I've got as long as the regular book thing is.
Yeah.
But for the hold, each library card only lasts 14 days. So I'll be like, yeah, I'll let me put a hold on that book. But if it takes longer than 14 days, I'm not getting it.
Yeah, sorry.
So I've made a lot of.
How did you figure out you could do that?
Well, I went online and I tried at a lot of places. I went to just big city to big city. And if anyone out there is listening to this podcast and they're like, hey, I know about a city
that you could
you can easily get another library card in, I try to collect them. If I am in a place, I'll try to go in and get a library card if I can, but they need proof of address. It's a whole thing. And before anyone says what they might say, which is many libraries let you pay a subscription fee to get their card.
Okay.
I'm aware of this.
Yes.
I don't have any money. That's why I need a library card. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing right now.
I'm learning a life hack right now.
Yeah,
I want a New York library card.
It's easy.
Just
to
sounds
get.
cute.
Yeah.
Just to have it in a wallet.
You don't get a physical copy.
Oh, you don't? No, boo. Okay,
because it's
never mind.
electronic.
Yeah,
this is the whole point.
I'm sorry.
I would stop if I had been getting every 2 weeks a new physical New York library card. At some point, I'd be like, "This is too much plastic."
Whose address? Whose address are you using? You're just looking up houses.
I'm just going on Google Maps and choosing a new house. They're getting my mail
cute.
all over New York.
Oh, I'm so dead.
They're getting mail for someone. I use my fake name, and I should tell you what this is. It's the name I had on my fake license when I was 20. I had a fake ID. Did you have a fake ID?
No, I was a good kid.
Oh boy.
No, I just never got carded.
I was good until I was about 20. That's when I went bad.
Well, sorry. I actually had a military ID because I was a dependent, and people don't know how to read the birthdays on military IDs, so I would just hand it to them, and they'd be like, "Oh, thank you for your service," even though I'm like,
"Nice,
nope. And
nice."
then I'd get in. But anyways, sorry.
Stealing alcohol and valor. I love it. Yeah, I'll tell you. Listen, not to give any tips to the youngsters out there.
Don't do it.
But restaurants. That's where you use the fake ID.
Yes.
Because the person who cares the least is the guy who's going to get tips. Yeah. Anyhow, my fake name is Karl Hauser.
No way!
But it's spelled differently.
Okay.
That way, I thought this through. If someone said the name, I would look.
Yeah.
So it's a C instead of a K.
Okay.
And it's H-A-U instead of H-O-U.
There it is.
Yeah, so look up that name on the internet, and if he's done anything, that's me.
I was
doing those things.
I was like, wow, he's given I was like, that's a good name for an alias.
Is my name.
Yeah, is your actual name.
But spelled wrong. So
There
how
it
are you
is.
going to find me? Good luck. The police.
That was going to be a great reveal if it was like just your name
Just
and
like
how it was spelled.
Geronimo Jones or something.
The only Geronimo I'm aware of is Stilton, the mouse, the book series, Geronimo Stilton. Humiliating.
Too cultured for me.
I know. No, so incredibly uncultured. It's a children's book because I don't know. I am convinced I have some kind of learning disability. I can't remember things. Like I will reread a paragraph multiple times and still not understand what's happening.
Sure.
So then I just don't read. And
You might have a learning disability. I'm not going to count you out on that. I don't
we're
know.
uncovering things. I will be, right after this podcast, going to my primary care provider.
Good luck. I've got ADHD. They're not doing shit for me. So.
I feel like it's like, I don't know. How did you, what were like the signs that you were like, all right, I think I have ADHD? Did you figure it out as an adult, or did you know you had it like maybe growing up as a child?
They tested me for it as a child.
Okay.
They said, this kid might have it. We're going to test him at school. We're going to observe him. And they said to my parents, I think he has ADHD.
Yeah.
And my parents said, kids get medicated too much.
They give them out like
Our
candy.
kid's normal. My parents were susceptible to any trend that was being talked about.
Sure.
Still are.
Yeah.
Dad's a big Fox News guy.
Love to see it.
And like everything, like I think my mother once asked me if I'd ever attended a rainbow party.
What's a rainbow party?
Wow.
Sounds fun.
Let me tell you.
Sounds.
Apparently, a rainbow party is when the girls each wear a different color of lipstick and create a rainbow on the guy's dick.
Oh, you had me until you brought a guy into the picture.
Well, that's when my mom asked me if I had gone to a rainbow party,
Oh,
which she heard about on, I think, Oprah. So they were,
insane.
yeah, this was the kind of thing they were always worried about. They were terrified that Power Rangers was going to make me violent, you know, all that stuff. So suffice it to say, what were we talking about?
ADHD testing. Your parents were
Yes. So yeah,
susceptible
they
to
told me I
trends.
was, and
Yeah.
it was ignored. But then, as an adult, you know, okay, here's the thing about the first time I took Ritalin,
Yeah.
which is what I was given,
Yes.
because my psychiatrist at the time didn't want me to have the much cooler Adderall, because that's cool. Ritalin seems like your therapist is just like, he's acting up in therapy. You know, like... So it was she literally said, I'm going to give you Ritalin because it's less cool on the street, so you can't sell it. I'm like, okay, fine. And I learned so many interesting things, like when I used to watch Netflix while I drove, I wasn't actually doing a good job at both.
That's
Actually, I was missing a lot
of each one.
of both. But with the ADHD, I just kind of, I don't know how to explain it.
Pick
Like,
one.
yeah, like I in reality, like unjokingly, I would do a lot of things at the same time to stimulate my little dopamine-starved brain.
Yes.
And I would think I was following all of them, and then I would take Ritalin and I'd be like, I'm not following any of these.
Yeah.
I'm just like clipping in parts. And yeah, there was a time when I thought it was a good idea to play Netflix while I drove.
Listen, it's
No, it gets
okay.
worse because
Oh.
when I was younger, I didn't have Netflix. None of us did. You don't remember that, but it was a time. So I would read. Yeah.
While you were driving, that's
Yes.
crazy. Wait, that's actually.
Yeah. I had a Kindle. I had one of the first Kindles. And I guess if you're watching this,
Reading while driving is studious as hell.
it's just dumb.
It's so, I've never heard that before ever.
I wasn't reading smart things either. I was reading, Stephen King or something like,
Something captivating.
Yeah, I enjoyed the book.
Yeah.
But so
That's
there were
awesome.
signs. There have always been signs. I can't follow conversations half the time.
Sure.
I will, and it's so funny. I still get in fights with significant others about, are you listening? Yeah, and I'll say yes, and I'll believe yes. Obviously, I was listening.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Okay, you heard this," and I'll be like, "Oh, I guess I wasn't listening at all." But I can't tell the difference
Because your brain just clips it out.
It's weird. Yeah, it's just like I've learned very well how to convince myself I'm paying attention to things, I guess.
Yeah.
So Ritalin helped that, but I'm not getting it anymore because it's hard to get.
Yeah.
In some ways.
ADHD medication, especially now. It's
it's because okay. So the thing is, you want to avoid drug-seeking behavior. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'm seeking a drug.
Exactly.
So it's hard to advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to come off as like a fiend for it either.
Right. I'm just like I say to the doctor, I'm like, hey, chill, bud, just so you know. Some doctors have, diagnosed me with a thing that they have a drug for. Mm-hmm. Some of them give it to me.
Yeah.
And I get that you're not going to, but if you wanted to,
think about it.
It would help my life. My life would be better.
That's so funny.
But the thing is, I've also got brain medication.
Sure.
For the depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
So that's more important
than focusing.
I don't care if I focus as long as I can stop crying.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I go to the doctor. I'm like, listen, just give me this stuff. Give me this very safe.
Yeah.
I don't know, like non-recreational stuff.
See, I have to raw dog the depression and anxiety because I was on I was on medication. I have bipolar.
Sure.
And I was on medication for it, but it just turned me I swear I was just into a zombie, colorless, lifeless, nothing. I wasn't even myself, no personality. And I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
If I have a couple bad days in a row, I'll keep it so that I can just have some charisma left over.
Yeah, and you're dripping with Riz.
Got that charisma.
I'm very lucky. I tried a bunch of stuff, and I was lucky for many reasons. One is I had done enough cocaine and ecstasy in my life to be able to explain what the bad ones made me feel like.
Yeah.
This isn't great. What's it like? I would imagine it's like being on ecstasy, if I were to guess. I don't know, but
comparing it to drugs.
Well, I don't know if you've ever. I don't know if our listeners have ever done Molly, but there's that low level,
yeah.
You can't have that all the time.
No,
God, especially not without the fun parts. Well, what is that?
The way I figured out that I think I might have ADHD was because of doing cocaine and it not affecting me.
Right.
I would do amounts with people and they would be feeling, and I would feel nothing. I'd have no reaction.
And that's the thing about, that's how you know it's addictive too, because I'll tell people, I can't really explain why cocaine is good, but I want some now that we're talking about it. Yeah. So, anyway, I was lucky. I tried enough of them that I found something that I am more me with than without.
Yeah.
I'm just able
amazing.
to be the person that I am.
That's beautiful.
Because that, that hollowness, that emptiness, that's what depression is for me. So obviously, when I'm not on it, I'm just like, oh man, those things I love.
Yeah.
They suck. Everything I love
Everything
sucks.
is awful. And then what's crazy is I have friends that also struggle with depression, so then I go to them I'm feeling this way and they're like, bitch, me too. We just
kind of flock together.
Yeah. I'm like, can one of us get medicated so that we can
someone lift the rest of us out of this hole?
Because I can't do it. It's fine. I really, it comes to me in waves. I definitely as having bipolar, I know that I quick cycle through hypomanic and depressive.
Sure.
And I'm so productive, and I'm on a kite when I'm hypomanic, but that depressive hits, and it's I can't leave the house.
Oh yeah.
It gets brutal, but You know, there's methods, there's holistic solutions.
I'm glad you found them.
Yeah.
I spent months in a basement.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I did not see sunlight for months in college.
Yeah.
Don't look so sad. It was
No,
fun.
you loved it? You were living?
No, God, no.
Oh, well, then my sad face was right.
I'm just not ready to be vulnerable. What
Sorry.
is this, improv?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it was tough. I'm glad I found something because it really,
Yeah. I college for me, part of the reason why I was just like done with college was because it was like, I was getting so depressed. I moved out of my dorm. The dorm was bad for me. I would just like, I thought it would be good for me to like socialize, meet other college kids, but actually it just was a door that I could shut and not see anyone.
Sure. There's always a way to find that door.
Yeah.
Did you graduate college?
I have 1 year left. My goal is in
You're doing it
January.
now.
Yeah, in January I'm going to go back to school and finish my last year because I need to.
Yeah.
It's I can't sell this product without a degree.
Yeah. My goal is also to someday go back to college.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I'm really good at flunking out of college. I've probably done it 4 times.
So satisfying.
Oh, man.
To just be like, I'm not doing it.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
It is, I'll tell you, the weight, there's no greater weight off your chest than deciding that failure is an option.
And what's crazy is like I remember growing up being like I would judge people who didn't go to college. Like that was like that like going into I would judge people who didn't go to college. I judged and then I became that person.
Oh my gosh, the
and
things I used to judge.
Funny. Yeah.
My father used to say to me, if you don't get your grades up, you'll end up at a community college. Like as a threat. I wish. Oh my God, I wish
like,
I'd gone to community college. I went straight for state school. I got myself a big old bunch of loans.
There it is.
And I flunked. The things I used to think, oh my gosh.
I went to Metro Community and it was,
great.
Heavenly experience.
Yeah.
I was a student ambassador.
Cheap ass math classes.
Yes.
You know?
And like it was smaller classrooms as well. So I could like talk to my teachers. It was, I loved it. I miss it. But you know, I gotta go back to the university, the big school for 1 more year.
Sure.
And then it's over.
What's your degree going to be in?
Marketing.
Ugh.
I know. Who would do that? Can I just get a degree in podcasting?
I mean, that's marketing. That's kind of what that is. I want to, I would love to go back.
What were you working on when you went?
Oh boy. Theater.
Okay.
And then English.
Yes.
And then, languages.
Wow.
Yeah, very quickly in succession. Like there's no wow to this. I just kept changing my mind. And when I failed, I was a philosophy student. That's what I was going to do. And I think that's the problem is I want to go back and finish my degree just to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't want a degree in anything useful. I would love to get a philosophy degree. That would be delightful.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Right?
I
would
literally,
love that.
I let my parents pick out my major for me because I was like, I don't want to be anything.
That's smart.
And even like, I feel like I'm slowly, as being out of college has helped me figure out like, okay, this is the direction I want to go. And like, especially doing comedy, I'm like, all right, I kind of figure out where I want to go. But ultimately, I don't want to do anything.
Sure. So I'm unemployed. Mm-hmm. And they say if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I love being unemployed. So I never work a day in my life.
I can only aspire.
That's kind of a joke. That was kind of meant to be a joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't mind being unemployed.
Like,
it's just very funny because they say if you do what you love, and I love not working, so I don't work. I don't know. It's just
that's beautiful.
Okay.
No, it is. I get it. Wait,
I went for funny and I got either beautiful or sad. I feel like that's
a part of me is trying to figure out like if you're actually unemployed.
I don't have a job. I teach improv. Mm-hmm. And I coach improv, and then I do theater gigs whenever I can.
That's awesome.
So I don't have like a regular job.
No, that's perfect.
I'm in a show coming up.
Ooh.
I'm going to be in Rudolph at the Rose.
Tell me why. Okay, sorry.
Tell me why.
I was just driving past.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving past the Rose, and I got so excited. I was on the phone with my friend. I was like, oh my gosh, Rudolph is coming to the Rose. And she was judgmental of me. She was like, oh, the kids' theater?
Yeah.
Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
It's fucking Rudolph.
I do a bunch of work at the kids' theater.
Oh
it's
my
a lot
gosh. Because they have the best shit.
Well, you get to do these shows for like 900 kids, and you're just like a little mini celebrity for a second. Oh my God. It's a blast.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's the stop motion Rudolph too. Like it's that story and everything.
That was my favorite one.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing a gentleman known as Yukon Cornelius. Yeah, the prospector.
Way!
Yeah.
That's like that's awesome.
I know, it's exciting.
I will be there. I will be there. And I'm dragging my hating ass friend to that show as well because I know it's going to be good.
Please, I would say when it comes to any performance that I'm in, the more haters you can bring, the better. Thank you. Just bring a lot of people who will not enjoy it.
That's real Grinch behavior, though. Like, Rudolph, like, to sit and actively not like what you're enjoying is crazy, especially when it's Rudolph. That's satanic, honestly.
Rudolph has been a tradition in Christmas for what? 30 years?
I've known since, I was going to say since I was
He's
born.
a newer one, I think.
Does that mean?
I believe he's a newer one. He's like Elf on the Shelf. Like someone just added it.
I love those like stop motion movies.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite Christmas movies. Especially my favorite is A Year Without a Santa Claus with the heat miser, the cold miser.
Mr. I don't know if we can sing it. If we can.
I don't.
Do you have the rights to that song?
We'll make her that pay for it. I'm just kidding.
Let's sing a little bit of Beatles, see what happens.
But that's literally like, I love that style of movie. I wish they still made movies that look like that.
Just kind of a little cheaper than today.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, I don't want
I'm
high
sure
quality.
someone is, yeah.
Someone's out there.
Someone's putting
their back into it.
Cheap.
I think you know what you want to go to school for now.
What?
Stop motion
animation.
Movies.
I honestly, making movies sounds really cool.
It does.
It like just.
I imagine it sounds a lot cooler than it is.
I bet it's like a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I can't imagine I would enjoy it at all. But
I would also probably love it.
Yeah. That's why I like acting, though, is because I'm doing very little of the work.
You just get to show up and just.
I mean, because also theater is very ensemble. So, like, there's so many people doing so many things.
Yeah.
But, like, I just kind of show up. The director tells me what to do. That's it. I don't have to write nothing, baby. I memorized some stuff.
That's nice.
That's it.
Yeah.
Easiest job.
Just show up with a good attitude.
I'm besmirching everything I do. It's so funny. It's like everything. All the improvisers and actors out there are like, "What the hell, guy?
What are you doing?"
It's not that easy. It's all easy.
I mean, anytime I've been in a position where I've had to like recite something memorized, I just can't be serious. I can't hold a straight face. Like, I can be serious conversation or whatever, but like the second it's like everyone's watching me and I have to say something specific, it's I don't know. I can't keep it together at all.
Turn off the brain time.
I know. I'm my sketch group's nightmare. Like,
sure.
I love like giving ideas and writing, but when it comes down to like shooting, I'm like, just don't put me in it.
Well, it's true. I think it's true for me. It's true for acting and for improv that like the ability to absolutely shut down this brain of yours is so helpful. Mm-hmm. Or the ability to kind of maintain more than one thought track at once, which maybe is an ADHD gift. I don't know.
Beautiful. It's
sometimes horrifying. A recent show I was in, I had a musical solo, a song that I did, and I found myself thinking while I was singing about the fact that I shouldn't be thinking. What hell? What absolute hell?
It's like dissociating to a degree. Yeah.
Right. So I'm trying to get all the lyrics right.
Yeah.
While I'm thinking, okay, coming up is this next lyric. Don't mess up this lyric because right now you're supposed to be singing this other lyric.
Yes. I relate to that in the sense of like when I'm doing stand up, if I'm saying something, my brain is actively being like, don't fuck up. Like you're setting up this thing. Like,
Well,
don't.
yeah,
fuck
probably in stand up too. You got to shut that down, right?
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. I feel like it's more recently I've had issues with like dissociating, like psyching myself out when I'm on stage. It's the worst, and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? It's so unnecessary. Like, just be with the audience, be present, and
Just be there.
Just be meditative.
Yeah.
But gosh, I'm still really excited about the fact that you are going to be in Rudolph because that gives me even more of a reason to go and not feel so shamed.
Don't feel shamed. I'll get you a discount ticket.
I know that's right. I would pay full price, but I would love a discount.
They got a family and friends and podcast acquaintances.
Let's go podcast acquaintances.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you mentioned you were teaching and coaching improv.
Yeah.
We're kind of winding down. If this is a good spot, if you want to plug any upcoming classes that you're going to be teaching at the Backline, or shows that you're in, or
I'll tell you, I can't plug teaching right now because I'm going to start rehearsing soon for Rudolph. It's going to be a little.
You're going to
bit.
start probably next year.
Yeah.
Maybe in the springtime.
Yeah. Next week we start rehearsing for Rudolph, and that's coming up in December, so it's going to be a big one.
Oh yeah.
And then I got a show straight after that. So come to Rudolph at the Rose.
I will be there.
Come to Shakespeare Improvised at the Backline.
So it changes to every second Thursday.
No, just one time. Just one time.
Oh,
just
okay.
in November, it's second Thursday.
And then the
But
rest
it's
is
the first
the
Thursdays. First Thursdays at the Backline. Shakespeare Improvised.
Good deal.
We have someone coming in from, I don't know, I think London or something.
Oh shit.
But they're doing a workshop for us, and then they're going to be in our show in November.
That's awesome.
So that's why we're changing the date for one time.
Sometimes you got to for those special guests.
For a special guest.
You have to.
I asked you to. You said no.
For what?
Tuesday. I said I can't do Tuesdays.
Oh, and then I
you
was
said,
like,
fuck you, boy.
I said we have to do
You
Tuesday.
said it has to be a Tuesday. You said that's the whole premise of the show is that we do Tuesdays. And then it never came up.
No.
So pissed off. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I think those are the biggest things right now. I was coaching a house team at the Backline, but that's winding down. So there's going to be new house teams. It's really exciting. But that's me pitching someone else's stuff.
Yeah, no, screw them. I only want Karl Productions.
Just get Karl stuff. Right now, it's the biggest thing is Shakespeare and Rudolph coming up.
That's
That's
awesome.
what I'm working on. But I'm at the Backline pretty often doing improv.
I see you around. Also, you're
You can find 2 episodes of the Tone Downs on SoundCloud, probably.
I love SoundCloud. Yes. All right. We got it. And also, if you're watching, you might recognize Karl. He did go TikTok viral.
I transposed to Reels for a moment. And it's so funny because everyone was like, I saw you on Reels. And I'm like, all my friends are losers. That sucks.
That video, I just watched it this morning again because it's so funny. Like
It wasn't even posted under my account.
That's what sucks. It's under Dylan's.
I didn't get anything for that.
But
My 9,000 TikTok followers didn't see it.
9,000's pretty good.
It is.
That's pretty fire.
That is, I would say
you
that's...
can go TikTok live.
Oh, that's 8,000 bots for sure. But I can go TikTok live. I do have that ability.
And do some more, improv karaoke.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to do on TikTok live. Every once in a while, I just, obviously, I'll do me taking a shower or whatever every once in a while, but that's about it. Go on my TikTok if you want to see me take a shower.
We'll make sure to plug that there. But thank you so much for coming on and
Thank you for having me. It's been fun. Just jossing around.